What's going on, guys? It's Stock Picks by Tim. In today's video, I'm gonna look over a couple things for Cleanspark here. I'm also gonna show you a trend you need to watch for on Bitcoin and also some important things coming up. But let's get right into this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you like these videos. Don't forget to check out the Discord and don't forget to check out the links for some stocks and cryptos down below. And let's kick it off. Alright, so first off, I wanted to look over a part of this article here. I'll leave it down below so you can read the rest of it, but I'm just gonna skim over a couple things here. But it definitely puts Cleanspark specifically in a very positive light, and it goes over how during this bear market, while other companies have been panicking, while other companies have been making calls trying to sell their rigs, Cleanspark has been acquiring these rigs and making wise acquisitions. For example, in terms of buying extremely cheap rigs, Cleanspark spent $5.9 million on 3,800 miners that cost $1,500 each, normally $13,000 each, and that was during Bitcoin's peak. So now that there's just max fear, no one wants to buy these miners, and the market is flooded with miners because of companies going bankrupt, things of that nature. It puts companies like Cleanspark that are looking to grow, looking to acquire more miners in a very good position. You guys may remember Core Scientific. This article actually says that Core Scientific had a debt to equity ratio about 12 times greater than Cleanspark. And I remember looking at Core Scientific and they had something like $1 billion or so in debt with only about $100 million in cash, somewhere around there. So definitely not a good balance sheet for Core Scientific, and as we all know, they went bankrupt. And also companies like Argo Blockchain. This company's trying to sell miners that they haven't even gotten out of the box yet. And then we have Iris Energy, which defaulted on a $108 million loan. So what happened here? Well, it's that rubber band effect. Things get extremely overvalued. Things get, in my opinion, extremely undervalued. I personally think we're in that bottom range, that extremely undervalued area. And we all know that the market will circle back. Things will turn around. But this is well said by this Guzman Pintos, basically talking about how during the max euphoria, companies were incentivized to load up on as much debt to pump their stock. And he says the premise is simple enough. The more mining rigs a company operates, the more Bitcoin it can produce, the greater its revenue, the higher its stock value, so long as Bitcoin's price continues to fly. Well, when Bitcoin started tumbling, these companies realized that their margins got so much worse, they couldn't afford these things, and shit hit the fan. And he goes on to say that for the riskier companies, this euphoria basically came to an end once energy prices considerably started rising and Bitcoin started crashing, just destroying their margins. And he basically says the margins went from around 70% on average to 20%, which isn't enough to pay for energy costs and of course repay loans. And then here we have Dan Ives chiming in. The financial return on investment became almost impossible for miners. And if you guys remember Dan Ives, he gave a price target on Matterport. That's where I remember him from. But, you know, Cleanspark definitely made some great decisions during this time. You know, they didn't hold on to all of their Bitcoin. They took advantage and sold when they could. And this article here kind of describes it well. For those who held Bitcoin mined during the bull run, selling it now will fetch a quarter of its all-time high, while mining rigs whose prices strongly correlate with Bitcoin's own price have collapsed in value. Secondary sales of unused individual miners are cheaper than the listing price of their wholesale manufacturers, and they even come with the same warranty. Stock prices of all mining companies have almost universally plummeted. Absolutely. So this basically leads to lenders holding all the power. Financiers have already begun to repossess mining equipment. NYDIG took back 26,200 machines from a miner called Stronghold. Generate Capital, for example, has bought $5 million stake from its bankrupt debtor mining firm Compute North. Everyone is capitulating. All these companies are going bankrupt, and they have been scrambling to try to stay afloat, to try to stay up from under the water. Now, according to Guzman Pintos, the worst is over. As miners unplug, the Bitcoin blockchain will make it easier to mine new coins, increasing the revenue for the miners who survive. Cleanspark. But if Bitcoin's price rises, the cycle of short-term loans and cascading crashes may continue once more. Now, Cleanspark's CEO, Zach Bradford, actually believes that none of the current roster of lenders would issue longer-term debt like that. And this could prevent another liquidity crisis in the future. And I'm not sure if this was added by Zach Bradford or if this was just added by the author of this article. But after the collapse of FTX shakes the industry to its core, it'll take a long time until institutional lenders trust crypto again. There's just a little something to kind of compare Cleanspark to some other miners. They've just been adding miners, making acquisitions, increasing that hash rate. They're now very close to 20 Bitcoin per day. And we've got some things that are going to be important to watch out for though. First off, tomorrow we're going to have CPI. And if we get a really good reading on the CPI, we might have a great day in the market. For example, the S&P 500 went up about 5.5% on November 10 in its best one-day gain since 2020 on a better than expected October CPI. So if we come out with really good numbers, because the market is so beaten down and pushed down, we could see some really good days, but we're going to need some good numbers though. And also we've got something else coming up that's going to be very important for specifically Cleanspark. We have their earnings coming up in 2 days from this upload, the 14th. And I will be covering that, and I will be giving you guys a cleaned up edited version of their earnings call, so stick around for that if you're interested. Now, looking at Cleanspark's chart, remember this descending resistance, it kind of wrote it down. It's trying to level out right at this $2 level, this $2 support. If we break $2, we're probably falling further. And I think it's going to really depend on how earnings goes. And I'm honestly surprised today we're having such a green day. And this is the day we've had so far. Almost 9% up, and now we're sitting around 7.5% up, probably cooling down a little bit. I wouldn't expect this to continue today just because earnings is coming up. You would think there'd be a little bit of hesitancy and not too much of a pump, but we could always see a pump today and then a pullback tomorrow leading up to earnings coming up. Wall Street can be crafty. And also Bitcoin, we've got something important going on here. We have a ascending support level, and this was established towards the end of November. We're still respecting it today. However, if over the next couple of days we aren't able to consistently stay above 17, we may be breaking this support level. But it is interesting, if you see this pattern, we kind of have a pullback, a little consolidation, bump. Pullback, little consolidation, then a bump. Same thing, pullback, a little bit of consolidation, a bump. This could be that pullback with a little bit of consolidation before the next bump. Bitcoin's price can only stay pushed down for so long. We all know the halving is coming up very soon, about a year and a half away. And typically, in terms of the cycles, in terms of how halvings go, usually you start getting some movement to the upside when you're about a year away from the halving, give or take a couple of months. So I'd argue that we are very close to the end on this bear market for Bitcoin. And I really do think anywhere around this current range, you know, even up to 20,000, even higher than that, is looking back going to be a great place to buy Bitcoin. Right now it might not seem the case because it could always pull back to 15, even lower potentially. I don't have a crystal ball, but you know, 5 years from now looking back, I don't think it's going to matter if you bought at 15, if you bought at 20, if you even bought at 25 or 30. I think looking back years from now, we will miss these prices, mark my words. But that's it for today, guys. Just a quick little Cleanspark and Bitcoin video. Watch out tomorrow for CPI, and also we have the Fed rate hike coming up. And also we have Cleanspark's earnings, so it's going to be a busy week, and we will likely see a lot of volatility here. But thanks as always for watching, guys. If you stuck around till now, I appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and take it easy.